What's going on, guys? In this episode of the VR38 engine build, we are installing new heads. In the last episode, we finished a short block, so now it's time to mount the heads. All the surfaces have already been cleaned in preparation for that. Here you can see the boostlogic Stage 2 heads that are being used for this build. They're brand new from Nissan with all new internal components. It was then sent to boostlogic to work their magic. This particular spec has the boostlogic custom grind 272 degree camshafts. boostlogic also then supply new OEM buckets and new OEM spark plug inserts. For now, we have removed the inserts. For the Stage 2 package, the ports are cleaned and polished and smoothed out for better flow. boostlogic claims this specification has been flow tested for proven results. All of the components have been upgraded to top-of-the-line Farrier parts. There's Farrier valves, valve locks, titanium retainers, dual springs, spring locators, and a street valve lash job. So that's their Stage 2 package. Now let's get into installing these. First, we need to disassemble them as they come fully assembled from boostlogic. We need to remove the cams and the caps for the cams in order to access the holes underneath so that we can install the head studs. This is really easy to do as they are not really torqued down to any particular spec. One thing to remember is that you need to take note of where everything goes. The camshaft caps have a particular order in terms of placement and how it's torqued. Nissan labels them with letters and numbers, so to make it easy, I simply took photos so that we know the order. This is what it looks like with the cams and the cam caps removed, and you can see the lifters. Now that we have the parts removed, we need to use ARP assembly lube to lube up the head stud threads, nuts and washers. For this particular build, we are using ARP Custom Age 625 head studs instead of the OEM Nissan head bolts, which I have heard are actually pretty strong and capable of handling approximately 1000 wheel horsepower. If you are doing this at home, have some rags or some plastic handy so that you can place the cams or the lubed up head studs on them. As everything is greased or lubed up, it is actually pretty messy. Next up, we have our T1 Racing spec head gaskets. These are the go-to head gaskets in the market for VR38s that run big boost, and we're using their thickest spec. With the studs, nuts and washers all lubed up, we're now just getting everything ready to start mounting one of the heads. Here we're putting the washer and the nut on each of the bolts to make sure they're ready. We didn't lube one of the studs yet so as to use it as a guide when mounting the heads to the block. And here you can see everything is ready to go, so let's get cracking. Just double checking all of the holes in the block where the head studs go to make sure there's no debris, dirt or anything like that. I mentioned before that the VR38 uses solid lifters, which has its pros and cons versus hydraulic lifters. The biggest benefit being they generally perform better at higher RPMs. The head gaskets are now in place and we're putting on some secret sauce. Next we line up and guide one of the heads on so that we can torque down the head studs. The first step in the process is to hand tighten each of the head studs. From here on, we will torque them up to 115 foot-pound in 3 equal steps. There is a specific order in which they need to be torqued down, and because we are doing 3 equal steps, we'll basically be doing 3 passes on the head studs and following that specific order. ARP provides instructions in terms of the torque specs and in which order they need to be torqued down. Since you are working your way slowly up to 115 foot-pound in 3 equal steps, this can take some time, so just go slow and steady. And this is what I mean. This is the settings and the instructions that ARP provide. The VR38 intake cams use a cam plate signal on the back of each of the intake camshafts. They simply clip on and there is one nut to secure them, which you tighten to 55 Newton meters. This is how the cam signal plate looks installed on the intake camshaft. The next step is to install the cam caps back that we took off earlier in the video. There's a specific order for installation and tightening, and we took photos of this earlier and followed the manual for that. And this is how it looks with one side fully assembled. Before we start on the other head, we're giving the surface a bit of a clean, and to make sure we clean the holes so that there is no debris. This ensures a clean thread for where the head studs get mounted. And to do the other side, we simply repeat the process once more. A few things I didn't mention was during the process, we needed to find top dead center before installing the head. And then we put the pistons at halfway between top dead center and bottom dead center, as we didn't want piston to valve contact while bolting the head down. We placed the intake and exhaust cam gears on just to help move the camshafts. We'll be torquing these down when the rear timing cover goes on in the next video. The rear timing cover actually goes behind the cam gears, hence why we need to put that on first. We now have the other head on and are hand tightening the head studs. Time to get the torque wrench out and slowly work our way up to 115 foot-pound for each of the head studs in 3 equal steps. Final torquing of the other head studs now, so that we can finish up this side. Put the camshafts and cam caps back on and tighten them down. And there you have it. We have a fully built long block. Stay tuned for the next video as we get closer to mounting the turbos and finishing this motor. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.